Good morning. I'm Patrick Lee. It's time for Midweek Motivation Live. People already tuning in today. I hope you're doing wonderful. I'm doing wonderful. I'm motivated, highly caffeinated, ready to share some stuff with you today. I hope you're doing well, man. It's a beautiful day. Hot coffee. Hope it's a beautiful day where you are. I'm here in Amarillo, Texas. Many of you that follow the show know this is where I live in office. In the downtown tower executive office suites in the First Bank Southwest Tower, downtown Amarillo, Texas. It's a beautiful, beautiful sunny day, not a cloud in the sky. A little bit of haze on the horizon. From my office, you can literally see 4 miles. In Texas, we like to say it's so flat you can watch your dog run away for 2 days. A friend told me the other day he was visiting the office and he said it was so flat, if you stood on a bucket, you could see the back of your head. That's pretty flat when you can see all the way around the world. Anyway, today I want to talk to you, Midweek Motivation Live, about a couple of things. Hey, Pete, good to see you watching today. Sal, a few other guys already tuning in. Love that. Today's topic is the legacy journey, a little bit about the legacy journey and what does legacy mean? And legacy, we talk about it a lot. You know, different people talk about legacy, leaving a legacy to your children, leaving a legacy to those that you work with, people that are going to come along behind you. But a legacy can be defined in a lot of different ways. It can be defined as simply as an inheritance that you leave behind for your children and your children's children. It can be a legacy of value that you have left behind. Service to your community. You can leave behind a legacy of incredible service to those that you live around, the neighborhood that you're in, the community that you're in. That can also be a legacy. A legacy can also mean something else of value, like service to people. You can be a great leader, a trainer in a business, in a trade that you happen to be involved in, and you can leave a legacy of incredible customer service or performance. You can leave a performance legacy. So I want to talk to you about that a little bit. Good morning, Sal. A lot of people watching the show today. I love it. Thank you guys for coming back each and every week, watching the show, sharing the show. Some of you have gotten gifts, you know, every so often when you share the show, we send you out some Patrick Lee Group merchandise or a copy of a book. I've had a lot of people on here. I've sent books and caps and music to other people for supporting the show. I appreciate that. Continue to like and share Midweek Motivation Live with your family and friends, and hopefully we can send this value out to them as well. Continue to grow the audience. As always, if you're watching this on YouTube, be sure and click on the subscribe button below this video and the bell for notifications, and you'll be notified every time a Midweek Motivation Live happens to be live on YouTube and on Facebook as well. So we share simulcast to both platforms every week. And then we turn around and we chop this video up. I have a marketing company that takes this video and creates 1-minute motivational minutes for business and motivation. And then we send that also. Someone needs a shirt. There you go, Cody. That goes on. There you go, my friend from Fireslice. You need a shirt, please. That's in the works. We're getting more shirts ordered. I think I'm going to go with some Under Armour shirts this time. Those seem to be really popular. Some monogrammed shirts for the Patrick Lee Group. I think I just need to go ahead and get some swag printed. Y'all go ahead and leave me comments and let me know likes, loves, and shares. And then in the comments, I think I need to get some Midweek Motivation Live merchandise printed up, right? If we get some of that made up, then we can give that out as gifts as well. Y'all let me know what you think about that. Patrick Lee Group merchandise or Midweek Motivation Live merchandise. And the winner of that, it's the direction that I'm going to go. The most votes we get for one direction. So y'all let me know about that as well. But we're talking about legacy today and why we do the things that we do. All the people asking why. What are you talking about? I've been reading in my latest issue of Success Magazine, the company I work for, EXP, is a nationwide cloud brokerage. We've actually expanded outside of America into over a dozen foreign countries as well, the fastest growing cloud brokerage in America. And we had started utilizing Success Magazine, owned by another very popular success and motivation company, for years and years. And it became apparent that our relationship was so strong, we decided recently to just go ahead and purchase the magazine. So this is one that I get every month, and it's been the leadership there has changed. The people there are even more motivated than they were before, and it's a little bit more directed towards home buyers and sellers, real estate industry, title work, lenders, and but it's all about growing us as people, because as real estate agents, people in this space that we're in, that I'm in, leaving a legacy behind us is something that's very, very crucial for us. When you work in an industry that can be replaced by technology, no matter what industry you're in right now, you need to check yourself and start asking yourself these questions about the future of your industry. Can your position ever be replaced by technology? Now, our technology is the reason that we are here, the reason that we bought companies like Verbella, the company that's allowed us to create our own online virtual world where we can go in real time and collaborate with other like-minded business individuals. Why we bought Success Magazine, why we branched out into multiple nations around the world. But one of the things that we always need to be mindful is, why do we do what we do? And some of the things that we are learning is to ask ourselves a different question. Maybe flip that script and ask, why not? But there are a lot of people asking us the question, why? Why do you do what you do? Why do you do what you do? And the easy answer, of course, for those of you watching, you would probably have the same answer. The first answer would be, why do you do what I do? To pay the bills, right? Number one, that's what everyone seems to think is the most important thing in life, is I have bills, so I must pay them. Those bills were either created by us or created by someone else. And there are certain levels of lifestyle that we have ascended to. And we would tell ourselves to maintain this level of lifestyle that we are in, the social status that we're in. Then we have these bills that come along with it, the financing side of that. We always have to meet that, right? The rent is always due, and it's always due every day. At the beginning of the month, your house payment is always due. Your car payment is always due. Your utilities are always due. So people would say, why do you do what you do? That would be the number one reason. But then, as I've been coaching you and teaching you for the last couple of years on this show, you need to ask yourself these other questions. You've started defining what your goals are. You've written them down so that you can describe those plainly to other people. If they ask you why you do what you do, you say, because these are the goals in my family, and my relationships and my business, and these are the things I want to achieve in life. That's why I do what I do. And hopefully that becomes your number one answer of choice, other than I just got to pay the bills. If your answer is I just got to pay the bills, then you'll always see yourself as a servant to your career, as opposed to the person behind the reins, leading, directing, and driving your career, because it's taking you towards your goals. That's what's really important in life. So many people are asking us why, and I would like to simply change that and have you start learning to ask why not. You need to surround yourself with people that ask you why not. When you get to the point of where you're down and out, or you're feeling like maybe you're not as fulfilled as you should be. And I've actually had, I like that, Cody. Great idea. We'll think about that. Maybe our own label. Why not? There you go. These are the things that I'm learning to ask myself more and more lately. You need to start learning to ask yourself, why not? If you have set your mind to a goal, if you've written down a goal, a lifestyle, a social status that you want to climb to, if there's a level that you want to raise up to, I talked to you a lot about stepping stones, and each thing that you're going through in life is happening for you, not to you. And those are all stepping stones that are taking you to the next higher level in life, right? You may get knocked down a couple of levels from time to time, but you have to stop and ask yourself, why not do the things that I want to do? Why not set this huge, audacious goal for myself, my family, my teammates that's going to cause me to get up every morning, motivated, make preparation for the journey, and then set my foot out the door, moving quickly towards my life goals? Why not? Learn to ask yourself, why not? I want to read you a couple of things about this. The CEO of Success magazine, the new CEO of this, put a little forward in here today that I wanted to ask you. I wanted to read a little bit about that to you. He was talking about his dad, and when he was a child that lived in British Columbia, Canada, I watched my father grow a honey business, then a granola business with my uncle. I watched him sell that business to Kellogg's in the late 1970s for a huge profit. My father introduced me to personal development by handing me a copy of How to Win Friends and Influence People. Great Dale Carnegie book. I recommend that highly. You should read that. Take the course if you can find it online. His dad embodied the idea that good business isn't about numbers, but it's about people. When he became an investor in oil and gas, it made sense for him to move to Oklahoma City, so they did. It was a big change, and everyone asked him why, but he asked why not. I was used to moving around anyway. The life of an entrepreneur isn't always stable, and there I saw him help 12 different companies go public through a reverse merger, and many people didn't know what a reverse merger was. If you have a company that wants to go public and you don't have the ability to raise the capital to go public, what you would do is you would acquire a publicly traded company that may be struggling, and you acquire that company, and then your company automatically goes public through that merger. Pretty great strategy that his dad came up with. He had over a dozen companies do that. So, and there were a couple of times during that he actually lost everything. He made a lot of money, and then he lost a lot of money. He picked himself back up every time and kept going. At 84 years old today, he still takes risks just like that. He has the freedom to try and fail at new things. That's what being an entrepreneur is. He once told me that it's riskier to take a job than start a business. I feel the same way, and a lot of my friends ask me those kind of questions. Why should I do this, or why should I do that? And they're like, I just need a paycheck. And they asked me my advice. This happened to me recently. And they said, I think I should just go take a job. I may not like it, but my life would be easier. And my question was, are you sure that's what God's called you to do? Are you sure that that's going to be what you're called to do, that's going to help you achieve your goals? Or is that a knee-jerk reaction to the situation that you may be in? So as I read these things help me get motivated to bring these things back to you. So he says that a lot of people have potential, but they would rather take that potential and put it in the hands of someone else to just give them a paycheck every week. And that is far more risky than starting a company. The idea of a life of freedom and risks and what ifs is the legacy that his dad left him. Learning to move forward, learning to take to ask yourself the question, why not? For me, legacy is much less about financial components, though that is important for your children, their children, and so on in your legacy. But it's more about your reputation. What memories are you going to leave with others when you're gone? Will they be inspired by those? What did you stand for during your lifetime? Did you stand for something of value? Could someone say the legacy that he left behind is something that I can attest to myself and say that was a valuable legacy, something that he left behind that's going to help me? Do those values stand the test of time? Considering your legacy is sort of like asking yourself, why? Why did I start the business that I started? Why do I make sacrifices in my business every day? Why do I continue to try to further this business? Why did I choose to go this direction? And what do I hope it all means in the end? Why? Why did I do it? My why is probably a little counterintuitive. My why is reversed to why not. I flipped the script and started asking myself, why not do what it is that I want to do? Why not go for it? Why not see how many lives can be impacted in a positive way if I just go ahead and go for it? Why not see what this could become over time? Anything worth doing is worth doing well. You've probably heard me say that on the show before. Anything worth doing is worth doing well. So if you have set aside a worthwhile goal, the logical progression of a worthwhile goal is for you to ask yourself, why not? Why not take the next step in this journey? Why not get the next level of training? Why not develop the next relationship that I need to develop that's going to carry me to the next level in life? Why not? I have goals to start a free children's hospital. I know there's a couple of them out there already, right? Danny Thomas started St. Jude decades ago, over 50 years ago, maybe 60, 70 years ago. And they have free medical care for children, and they're a research hospital. Wouldn't it be worth it to have multiple free children's hospitals around the country and possibly in other countries? Why not? I think it would be worth it. If there are people that are wealthy enough to pour in millions and millions of dollars into cancer research and research for other diseases that affect our children, isn't it worth it to have centers where children can come and get free health care? If the government is regulating some of that money into numerous other things that many people may deem not necessary or red tape created, and directing and funneling those funds into making a bunch of rich corporations richer, then I say we go around that. Why not have multiple financially stable and wealthy people, the affluent people, pour their money into direct hands-on research that's really going to bring us answers to many of these medical mysteries that we've been fighting for generations with our children? And if we can do that, why not carry that forward into adults? And you're saying, Patrick, you're talking crazy. What are you talking about? Socialized medicine? No, I'm talking about why don't we cut the red tape and make it easy for children to get health care, and then expand that to adults, and let people that have the money and actually truly want to help others invest into that. Why don't we have wealthy people that just pay for a doctor to make a really, really, really good salary and live a nice, comfortable life, and that those affluent people pay for that doctor to give his services away to someone else for free? Isn't that worth it? Why not? You can ask yourself these questions on any number of things that you have goals about in your life, right? Why not? Learn to ask yourself, why not? Will the outcome be worth it? That's a question you might want to ask yourself. If I do the things that I want to do in life, will the outcome be worth it? And if so, that's a legacy. Isn't it worth it? If I could develop those hospitals, if I could build those hospitals and we could develop a cure for cancer, if we could develop a cure for spina bifida or meningitis or cerebral, palsy, if we could develop a cure for these things or define what it is that causes it and learn to eliminate it before it ever rears its ugly head in our children's lives, wouldn't that be worth it? I work in the real estate world, so my goal is to help 200 people this year buy or sell a home. Would that legacy I leave behind when I'm done, would it be worth it if that happened? Would there be people out there that would say the Patrick Lee Group helped me buy a home? Maybe I was the first person in my family to ever buy a home. We have been generations of renters. We've not been owners. Wouldn't it be worth it to help someone buy a home and provide a stable, home environment for their family and start a legacy of every one of their children because of the stability they were raised in, be able to grow up, get a great education, start a job of their own, and have a whole history of generations of homeowners? Of course, that would be worth it. That would be a legacy well worth leaving. Isn't what you do for a living worth it also? Can you define the things that you do and the reasons why you do it? And ask yourself the question, why not do it? Why not have the best pizza place in town? Why not work at the best store or own the best store in town? Why not have the largest investment portfolio of investment properties to help other people have clean, safe homes to live in? I have another goal of having multiple rental properties, but I want all of my rent properties to be nice and clean. I know a lot of rental owners, investment owners, and some people would call them the old term, which is a slumlord. You walk up to one of their properties or drive by their properties, and the landscaping hasn't been maintained ever since they purchased the property. The home inside is filthy and not fit for humans to live in. Would you call that a very responsible investor? No, they're just living by what that property will bring them every month, and they're not investing into the life. They call themselves an investor, but they're investing into their own pocketbook. They're not investing into the lives of the people that are living in the properties that they own. So would the outcome be worth it if you had this large investment portfolio, but everyone who lived in your properties basically hated you? And they said, no, he was a slumlord. We never had plumbing. Our home or our apartment was full of bugs, and the power went out frequently. We didn't have heating or air conditioning. It was filthy. And some investors might turn around and say, well, it wasn't that way when they moved in. They destroyed it. Well, did you have a series of checks and balances in that property? If you had asked yourselves the tough question of why not be a responsible landlord, wouldn't it be worth it for you to stop by and check on the property and make sure that you and the tenant were a good match and that they were maintaining your property as well? I think it is. Why not? Will the outcome be worth it based on what you do? And that actually is that, I jumped ahead of myself. Is your goal worthy? I would like to think that the goals that you set are worthy, but I don't know you. All I can do is help you, lead you, and guide you. Why don't some of you put in the comments some of the goals that you have in life? And then, of course, other people, when you do that, unless you're afraid to do that, because someone might ask you why you do what you do, and is your goal worthy? But if you're not afraid to do that, go ahead and drop some of your goals in the comments. I share with you the things that I want to do in my life and the goals that I want to achieve. I think it would be worth it for you to do the same thing. And we can discuss a couple of them. I'm always up for that. But is your goal worthy? I've challenged you many times in the past to write down on a piece of paper a line down the middle, talk about the positive on one side, write down the negative on the other side. I was talking with another confidant and friend yesterday about that exact same thing that they have done in their life. And they said, you know what I've always done? I've always got a piece of paper and I've written a line down the middle, and I write the pros on one side, the positives, and then I write the cons on the other side. And I try to write down as many of each. And as I'm doing that, at the end, it becomes very apparent to me if this goal is worth it or not. Is it worth it or not? And if the pros, the positives outweigh the negatives, it's always worth it. That's a legacy you can leave behind if you achieve those goals. And then once you've achieved that goal, you can set another goal. People talk a lot about moving the goalpost, but I would challenge you to always be moving the goalpost. If you've set a worthy goal and you've achieved it, move the goalpost, raise it up a notch. Raise it up a notch. Yes, Peter wants to have a coffee shop. Dude, go for it. Cuban coffee, right? You're always talking to me about Cuban coffee. It's some of the strongest. And people in America are always striving to find good, strong coffee. You go to other countries and the coffee's about this much in a cup and it's thick as mud. You could stand a spoon up in it and it wouldn't fall over. I have a feeling that I've tried some Cuban coffee and some of it's that strong. And I love good, strong coffee. But there's a good start goal, right? I want to have a coffee shop. And then once you have a coffee shop, you would raise that goal, right? And say, hey, I want to have a chain of coffee shops. I want to turn this into a franchise. And then all across America, for starters, starting in my community, I want to have multiple Cuban coffee shops and introduce people to the wonders of Cuban coffee and the different flavors than some of the other coffees that we share around America, right? We get coffee from many different companies, primarily, Colombia. Good old Colombia has great coffee, but we grow coffee beans in a lot of southern nations because of the climate and the soil, and it makes great coffee. Cuban coffee is a wonderful coffee, so why not have a chain of Cuban coffee shops, right? Just don't name it Castro's. Sorry, that's just a joke. Don't name it Castro's coffee. People are very divided by their coffee. They're very loyal to some coffee shops and very critical of others, right? But that's a goal. You start with a goal of having a coffee shop. And as you get older and you have a chain of coffee shops, you can then leave a legacy to those behind you of business ownership, entrepreneurship, right? What does the word legacy mean to you? Throw some comments in here. What does legacy mean? I described it a little bit at the beginning of the show, right? My daughter, Candace, love you, girl. My daughter wants to help design all of my properties. You'd be great at that. I believe that. Why not? Why not go for it, right? If you have the ability to go for it, if you want to be a designer, hey, go for it. You're very gifted, Candace, in many, many areas. So why not go for it? What does the word legacy mean to you? That's what I asked you. What does it mean to you? What can you leave behind when you leave this earth? When you pass on, when you die, when we're resurrected, when we're raptured, when we go to heaven to meet Jesus, or when we leave this earth before that happens. Either way, when we leave this earth, what are we going to leave behind? What does legacy mean to you? Ross says, how you're remembered by posterity. Absolutely. We've talked about that a little bit. Ross has been sharing on social media some of the things that he's going through. He recently lost his dad and has shared some wonderful, wonderful comments about his dad's legacy. This is critical to who we are as a person. One of the most important things you can ever do in life is honor your parents and thank them for the legacy they left you. And if that legacy is subpar, or that legacy that was left behind maybe something that you're not necessarily proud of, you can still be thankful that you learned something from that parent. You still need to honor that parent when they pass. Ross left great testimonies to his dad on social media, and I'm so proud of him for doing that. And he wants to carry on the legacy of his father. My dad passed away last year. I like to carry on the legacy that my dad left me, and that was service to others. My dad ran the emergency medical services for our hometown. The ambulance driver developed the ambulance department, starting with our own personal Ford station wagon back in the early 1970s. And they got him a stretcher and a little revolving light you could stick on the car. And our car became the first ambulance until they could earn enough money to buy a Ford van ambulance, the first ambulance our town had ever had. And when he retired 38 years later, he, as an EMT3, they had 3 state-of-the-art ambulances, a large ambulance garage. And the hospital ended up selling that ambulance department to another company for a huge profit. And they took over the ambulance services in my hometown in Bandon, Oregon. And that was quite a legacy. But while my dad was doing that, all of those years growing up, he also served our neighbors. He would do everything from detailing cars to mowing the lawns, to painting on the house, to working at the church, always doing things for others who were less fortunate than we are. And when I was young, I didn't think we were very fortunate. I thought we were poor, and by many people's standards, we were. There were many times we went to bed hungry, and not at the fault of my mother, but we didn't have a lot. And there were some nights when I was young that it may have been Spam for dinner, or it may have been biscuits and flour gravy, and that may have been all we had. And then within a couple of days, we could afford some hamburger meat. But you know what? We all grew up healthy, and we all made it into adulthood. And if something went wrong after that, that's on us, not them. They left us a legacy of love, care, and they cared for us. So my dad left an incredible legacy. And I know that my mom has served in the church all of her life, a strong Christian woman, and pastored and taught. And when my mom leaves this earth 30 years from now and goes to see Jesus, she's going to leave an incredible legacy behind in all of her children. Hopefully I will be carrying that legacy forward. I love the fact that I'm able to do this and share messages on here that bring hope and motivation to other people. So those are a lot of the parts of the legacy that I'm trying to leave behind. So I hope that this has inspired you a little bit today. I want you to think about legacy. I want you to learn about changing the question why into a why not legacy. Why not go for it? Why not move forward in your goals? Why not? Why not? Ask yourself, why not? Isn't it worth it? Why not go for it today? That's my challenge to you today. Hey guys, this has been Patrick Lee with Midweek Motivation Live. At the end of every show, I always tell you to do this. Go click on www.patricklee.work. It's scrolling across the bottom of the screen. It will also be in the comments below this video on Facebook. You can always reach me at that link. It takes you to my digital business card created by Content Cardz. And if you're another licensed realtor, you can go to contentcardz.com and they can connect you with a digital business card just like mine. But if you're in the market to buy a home, sell a home, or invest in real estate, click on that link, www.patricklee.work. Give me a call at 806-570-7712. I'd be happy to help you, and that will help me move forward in my legacy, my goal of helping over 200 people buy a home, sell a home, or invest in real estate this year. Until next week, y'all have a wonderful week. Ask yourself, why not go for it today? Bye-bye.